Okay. Okay. Welcome, 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 Miss Vernon. Thank you. We are now live, officially live on YouTube. And we are here to speak with Miss Vernon Coulon, author and holistic therapist. We're going to have Miss Vernon Coulon introduce yourself. You want to go ahead? I'm going to mute
You're a little
myself. And
garbled, just a little bit.
okay. We'll go along. You can go. I can hear you on this end. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't really hear. Were you introducing me? You wanted me to say something?
Yes, I would like for you to introduce to the platform who you are and what it is, what type of therapist, what type of therapy that you provide.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And hello to everybody out there who's watching. My name is Vernon Coulon. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm a practicing psychotherapist. And the kind of psychotherapy that I practice is holistic. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I pay attention to heart, mind, body, and spirit. So often we pay attention to one part of ourselves and neglect the other. But, if one part of you is hurting, then that means that the other part is also affected. You can't just fix one part and think that you're going to be okay. So, heart, mind, body, and spirit all integrated. And so I also consider myself an integrationist because I believe that we have to integrate all of these parts in order to become whole.
Okay, thank you for that. Can we have you mute yourself just for a couple seconds? When there you go. Okay. So we have to get into this rhythm of dropping gems clearly. So let's talk about, if you can hear me, nod your head. You can hear me clearly. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about you as an author and the books that you already have out for sale.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to mention that. The latest book that I have out is called Change Your Life. Here's a copy of it. It's probably going to be backwards on the screen, but it's Change Your Life. And the book, really, the title of the book speaks for itself. It's about you changing your life. So often we procrastinate when it comes to actually doing something for ourselves. And I think that one of the possible blessings, if you can call it that, from all of this isolation we find ourselves in is the fact that we are forced really to look within and to look at ourselves and who we are. We're forced to do it. We don't have all of these distractions. And so the latest book, Change Your Life, and what it is, it's a guide, um, daily daily lessons, really reflections. They're daily reflections in terms of the things that bother us the most. And oftentimes we need guidance in order to make a change. It's one thing to say you need to change, but it's another thing to actually get the direction in terms of how to do it. And so this is my latest book. I've always been interested in writing about the hidden strengths that people have, even as they go through a lot of pain and trauma. Sometimes we think that that pain and trauma that we're going through is a very lonely journey. It's something solo. So the book that I wrote previous to this was called The Emotional Price of ADHD. And yes, and it's shown statistically that 1 in 5 people has some form of ADHD. And ADHD doesn't really get the respect that it deserves. There are all kinds of disorders that get a lot of respect, but somehow when people say, "Oh, that person must be ADHD," it's kind of even said in a joking way. But it's a lot of more than half the prison population are people with ADHD. It's a very emotional and damaging condition to have, and not only for the individual suffering from it, but also from the families and people just not understanding how to deal with it, and it doesn't get that respect. So that was my second book. This is the one, Change Your Life, was my third book, and Emotional Price of ADHD was the second book. And I would love to see that book in libraries everywhere. So if you're out there and you know somebody who'd like to get a copy of this book or recommend it to their library or their school system, please, just contact me. And I don't know if you will have the opportunity to find my information somewhere on this program, Center for Holistic Therapies. The other book I'll just mention very quickly, I wrote a long time ago. It was called Parents Fight Back, and it's out of print. But that was my very first book, and I was moved to do it because what I wanted to do was to help parents who were dealing with teenagers and children who were doing drugs and not knowing where to turn. At that time, there was such a stigma to it, and maybe there still is a stigma, but I'm happy to see that people are recognizing more and more that people use drugs to medicate themselves when they're in pain. That's really the bottom line. You may start off recreationally doing it, but it really, if you keep it up, it's about medicating yourself to deaden the pain. So that's a little bit about me: heart, mind, body, and spirit. I also am a Qigong practitioner, and that is that's very similar to people. It's very similar to Tai Chi. It's a great way to relax and to meditate. And that's one of the things that I do in my practice. I incorporate all of it. And that's something that pulls in the physical aspect as well as the meditative and spiritual aspect of being whole.
All right. Thank you for dropping those gems on me. Thank you so much. Wanted to ask you if you can give us, because we spoke briefly about ADHD, if you can just give us a brief synopsis of what that is for those that really, just like you said, you hear a lot of people laugh and they joke about ADHD, but what is ADHD?
ADHD is a condition that really there's a broad range. A range is ADHD means attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and so often the part that gets the attention is the hyperactivity. So we'll look at a child and say, "Oh, they're so hyperactive. They can't sit still. They can't do this. They can't do that." That is so true. But that's not all of what ADHD is. So it also means that the way they process their thoughts is, I can only describe it the way someone who had it told me. They said it's like I'm watching television and I get into the program that I see on TV, and then somebody switches the channel. And then I'm like, now I'm watching something else. And so a person with ADHD, and the attention that they can put on something and to hold that attention is a real challenge very often. But it's something that can be at one end of the spectrum or the other. So it's not like everybody fits into the same mold. I hope that
did. Thank you. Yes. That definitely did. I'm sure you cleared that up for me, and I'm sure for others that are watching. Don't forget, this is a YouTube channel, and you can share this to whomever you want. You can just click the share and send it through your messenger, send it through your email to share with others that you feel this may be helpful to, or it may be helpful for you. Whatever. But that's why we're here, is to share information. So let's get into the difference of, because we breaking down yourself as a therapist. I see you have mental health, you have emotional health, and you have spiritual health. So wanted to see if we can just kind of go through the different the different types of what is mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Oh, very good. I'm so happy you did ask that. Let's start with the mental, I think, because it's called mental health. And so when we think of the mental health, we think of the mind. And so often in the past, the stigma that went along with mental health issues was that you didn't have a strong mind. And so, what is the mind? The mind is about your thoughts. And so, why don't you just clear your thoughts up? And for some, it was about you don't have enough faith. So, if you had enough faith, you wouldn't have this mental health problem. But mental health, the mind part of it can encompass depression. It can encompass anxiety. It does encompass those things and all the full spectrum of mental health issues that go along with that. And of course, one of the things that we think about that's at the extreme end of the mind part of it, people think of in terms of, are you suicidal? And that's something that you really want to be careful about. If you see somebody who's down and depressed, you think, well, are they suicidal? But it's not just are they thinking about suicide. Suicide and mental health is not a thought. A thought is just that. It's just that it's a thought. And so one of the ways that I help people to heal is to start to put the mind part of it into perspective. Your mind is not all of who you are. It's important, like all of these pieces, but it's not all of who you are. The mind then is fueled by the heart. And what do I mean by that? I mean, that's your emotions. What do you feel? Because if I come to you and you say to me, I'm having a problem with my boyfriend. Okay. And what about your boyfriend? And then the person goes on to tell me, well, I think this and I think that. Well, okay, that's what you think. But how's it making you feel? What's coming up inside you that you aren't able to share and have reciprocated back to you, your feelings and your emotions? So the emotions really fuel our thoughts. So you can have a thought, but if there's no emotional range behind it, the thought won't go in place. So the thought is the thought, but the emotion is like the fuel that you put on the fire. I hope that is clear.
No, that is clear, but we didn't talk about the spiritual.
And I'm gonna get right into that. Okay, so let me just take my time. Let me pause. You
You
know,
know,
it this whole thing is an evolution. When years ago, when people thought about mental health, they thought about the mind, and people really neglected thinking about the emotions. So now here we are, the 21st century, and people are starting to, and professionals are starting to recognize the importance of emotional health and helping people to develop that. So that's not quite as ingrained as the the mind piece of it, but the emotional piece is a piece that people are starting to recognize. It's okay to cry. It's okay for men to cry. It's okay to show your feelings. It's okay to object to something without actually being antagonistic. Just because you say no doesn't mean that you're being antagonistic. So, emotionally, being able to have that emotional health. And I'm coming to the spiritual piece. I had to say that first. Because now, what about the spirit? Now, if we have neglected the emotional piece, we've certainly neglected the spiritual piece. And by the spiritual piece, it means that can you recognize yourself more than just flesh and blood? I mean, there is a divinity that's anchored in all of us. The energy, the chi, the whatever you want to call it, the soul, it's in there, and it's a huge piece of how we make decisions and how we lead our lives. And it's a huge piece in terms of whether or not we're going to be successful or not successful. And even more importantly, it's a huge factor in whether or not you're going to get well. Because so often what happens is that you feel like you are overwhelmed. And I try to tell people, okay, if you're overwhelmed and you've used up all of the mental resources, all of your emotional reserves that you can, then what's left? And people off at that point, then they feel like I have nothing. But I'm saying, okay, well, wait a minute. Let's talk about that other piece that's also a part of you that you can tap into. And so helping individuals be able to recognize and embrace that they are more than flesh and blood and that they can tap into that spiritual piece. And of course, that's a different path and a unique path for each and every person. It doesn't matter how unique it is. The truth is, though, that we all have, that's a part of us. And so helping individuals recognize that, embrace it, and use it as a resource, tapping into that divine source. That once you tap into that, hey, you are unstoppable.
And that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to feel.
Yes.
That's how I like to feel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and open up the platform a little bit right now, just for others that may be on here to ask you questions and to communicate with you personally. We do have Edwin DeRusso, and Edwin is going to speak to you. I will allow him to explain where his accent is from, and because it is pretty heavy, and we probably going to have to tune in a little more because we are social distancing. So, Edwin, if you can go ahead, if you have any questions for Ms. Coulon, you are free to speak.
First of all, good evening. I don't know. I'm gonna ask you first thing to. I'm gonna mute myself again to see if you guys can hear me very well because I have like a little echo coming to my
My
receiving right
receiving right
here.
here. We can hear you.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? That's what I want to know.
We can hear you when you unmute yourself. Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Good evening, Miss Vernon. I don't know if I see the word right. Um, Well, it is that I was receiving you, but I'm listening and I got some echo. I'm trying to fix it up on my own and my way where I am right now. I so apologetic to the fact that I'm not really in a really good place because I'm doing a client right now myself, as you do a lot of client. But I was so excited tonight to meet you on the platform and very excited because I already got a preview and what you're doing, and then I really like it. Um, my first question to you is like, uh, I know, and this time we're living right now, a lot of people stress. Sometimes they probably get those diseases, PSD, whatever you call that, because I'm not in that area at all. I don't know what it is, but what do you think in this moment right
ADHD,
here?
or is that what you're speaking of? ADHD, ADHD, or PS? What are you speaking of? ADHD? Is that what you're speaking of? Is that what you're asking her?
PTSD, I heard you
Yes,
say.
correct.
PTSD.
What do you think
What I
in
heard,
this moment we're living with?
Edwin, you can continue.
No, I try to mute myself when somebody talking because I know it make a lot of echo. Can you guys? I know you guys hear me, but this uh, um, for this subject, the moment that we're living right now, these this for the past like maybe like almost like 9, 10 months or 11 months, we are dealing with a new enemy that caused a whole lot of different stress. What did you see yourself as a therapist? How you can get those new cases that people really basically worried and create more kind of like disability mentally in this era, because I feel like a whole lot of people stress and get mentally disabled, you know, compared to the COVID-19. What do you think they can do, or what you can do actually to help them to go through that pathway?
That's a very good question, Edwin. Thank you so much for asking it. Um, First of all, we are living in unprecedented times. And when I say unprecedented times, I even would compare it, say, to wartime, where it's not just something that affects one person, it's a collective experience. And what it is doing, first of all, let me just say what it is doing to everybody. And this is everybody. No, there is not one person who's unaffected. So what it is doing, it is forcing us to face ourselves, to learn who we are. And that's where the anxiety comes in, because the way we have been dealing with life, and talk about everybody in general, is that we have had all kinds of other things outside of ourselves that has distracted us. That's why we can't go to work. And so we don't have that as a distraction. We are not driving in our cars. We don't have that as a distraction. So what are we left with? We're left with ourselves. And so that's stressful. And it's stressful because now we are not in charge. We feel anxious because the way we counter anxiety is by being in charge of something, being able to manage our lives. Well, we can't manage our lives that same way. So the first thing that I would say is that I would encourage people to accept that it has changed. Accept it. And then let's take a look at what you can do now to replace what was with something else that's even better. And so there's different things that first of all, like I said, recognize, grieve even. Anytime we lose something, even if it's life, there's grief involved in that. So recognize, be aware, I've lost something very dear to me, and it has left me feeling like I don't know which way to go. So, you just got to stop, sit, recognize it, grieve, acknowledge the loss, the pain of what I had, and then take a deep breath and say, okay, how am I going to now replace it with something? And I could tell you some practical things that I could tell people, like get into a support group. There are things that you can do to develop new habits, to relax yourself, give yourself permission finally to relax, to do things that are fun just for you. And these may sound like trivial things, but these are things that really will help you and help all of us to now get back in touch with the real person that's inside, that's been really defined by everybody else. We've been defined by everybody else. And so here's an opportunity for us to define ourselves. So what I say to my clients, I let them know that this is a positive thing and they're not alone, and it's okay. Even though I'm scared, I still love and I accept myself. And it's okay to be scared, because now once you accept that you're scared, you can accept that there's some place for you to go and to grow and to be even better. That's what I do. I encourage people to see that part. Does that help you at all in terms of how I'm answering you, Edwin? Did we lose Edwin?
Yeah, he'll come back. I think it's just where he is. His surface is bad and it's coming out. So that's why you'll see him coming in and going out. But when he comes back, he'll follow up, I'm sure. So yeah, that definitely made sense. And I'm glad that he asked that question as well. Here he comes now.
Are you back with us, Edwin? So just to summarize it, I would say the biggest thing that I'm seeing is anxiety. That's the biggest thing. Now there is sometimes there's depression, but the biggest one is anxiety. And that makes a lot of sense, because why do we get anxious? We get anxious because we have no control over something. And that's one thing that dealing with all of this has taught us. We have no control. And so you have to step back and say, okay, what do I have control over? We have control over ourselves, but we're so used to parceling that out, giving up our control and just going with the flow. Now here we have the opportunity to actually develop ourselves and to design our lives ourselves, to be co-creators instead of sitting back and passively letting life happen to us. We can be actively engaged in it.
Yep, and I agree. I agree. I'm so glad we spoke about that, because that too leads us into our topics about how your therapy becomes holistic, and ways of defeating that anxiety, whether it may be through meditation, whether it may be through yoga. I heard you speak earlier regarding the Tai Chi, and we're just trying to, share different ways to kind of battle that anxiety or that depression and I agree that it's more anxiety than depression in most cases. So if you can just elaborate a little more on how we can defeat some of those things through holistic therapy.
Okay, now holistic therapy, of course, means mind, body, heart, and spirit. And so there are things that we can do that would engage either any of those areas or all of them at one time. And so I think that some of the things that people immediately are familiar with would be the physical piece. Go out and take a walk. If you don't live near a park, I mean, there's something so healing about nature. I mean, it is truly healing, and nature, and we neglect it. I neglect it sometimes. I mean, just wake up in the morning, go to your window, and look out the window, mm, and just breathe in. Just that simple act. I mean, it's not brain science. It's not brain. It's just the simple things that will really, really, really turn your life around. Go out on your back porch, walk around the block. It does not have to be this elaborate. And buy some flowers. Do something for yourself. Treat yourself to things that normally you maybe say you've always neglected yourself in doing. Uh, I we talked the other day and about roller skating. Going roller skating, going biking, doing something. But like I say, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. If roller skating is your thing, fine. But if just walking is your thing, fine. If you can't walk, like I said, get up in the morning and just go to a window. As soon as you get up, go to the window and take a deep breath and just breathe it in. Look at the sun. Open your arms and mm, just bring it in. Just bring that sun in. Bring it in. Grab a hold of life. Coloring books. Coloring books are really, really popular now. So therapeutic. Just taking that coloring book. And not only that, it's something that you did as a child. Go to the dollar store. Go to the dollar store. Scrape up some, change that you have laying around. Go to the dollar store and buy 4 or 5 different things for $1. Just go in there and just be silly. Get silly on me. Go in there, discover that inner child. These are things that absolutely can be done. And then there's meditation. And we can get into a meditation. So different people will say, oh, I don't have the discipline to meditate. Well, there are different levels of meditation. And one of the easiest ways to meditate would be the guided meditation. And so I can talk us through a guided meditation, but it's something that you can just guide yourself, and it will help you. You're teaching yourself, you're teaching your body to have different kinds of muscle memory, different ways, different things to rely on, different things to go to in order to be able to embrace the world and to not rely on things outside yourself. This is what I'm talking about. I hope that was
It was. That was great. And it basically stating the same thing you were saying, or the title of your book, Change Your Life. There are things. Yep, there you go, right there. So, I haven't read the book, but I'm sure all of it is in the book and some. So thank you. Even just talking or speaking more about the guided meditation, because I was going to get into that, being disciplined through meditation. Those were some of the things that we spoke about as well.
Can I interject something here?
Sure, you can take the platform.
But also prayer. Meditation has become a really popular thing to refer to, but just prayer. And so I said that to somebody the other day who was going through a hard time. Have you prayed about it? And they said, well, I'll try, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. And what is prayer? Prayer is just talking, just talking to your higher power, talking to that divinity that is in your life. That's just talking. There's no special way to pray.
And, talking in your own time and in your own space, whenever you feel.
Yes. And I have a friend who'll say, when she gets into trouble, she'll say, you know what? I got to go home and go in the room and close the door. So that's just, and she's just meaning, let me just go someplace and get with myself. And that's what happens, with us oftentimes. Everything is pressing in on us, but no, give yourself permission. I think if I have to just keep hammering home one point, that is give yourself permission. So much of our lives has been dictated by other people, by circumstances, by we have to do this, we have to do that, by all of these unwritten rules that have been projected onto us. And so now your time in life right now is to give yourself permission to redefine who you are, or to at last define who you are, because you've been defined by everybody but you.
Yep, thank you. Dropping those gems. Don't you love those gems, Miss? Come on now. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. It just feels good. It's a nice booster. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So let me ask you. Hold on. Okay. Where can we find your books? Where can your books be found?
You can find my books on Amazon number one. Or I would say Amazon number two. You can find my books on my website.
Okay.
Which is Center for Holistic. That's holistic. HOLISTIC. Holistic therapy.com.
Okay.
And on that website, there's a lot more information about different classes that will be available soon. There's a lot of information there on really personal assessments for each person can take. You can go to that website, and there's a questionnaire on there. No, it's nothing to commit to, just a questionnaire so that you get some insight into who you are and what's challenging you in your life.
Okay, I have put it here on the screen, Center for Holistic Therapies.com. Can you overlook that and just make sure everything is correctly
It's correct. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I see Edwin made it back. Let's see if we can to accept some more questions from Edwin while we still have him on the platform. Can you hear us, Edwin? Okay. So let's get into love, the love piece, the message for the viewers, our ultimate lesson for the viewers. We're going to talk about love and this pink bubble that you wanted to share with the viewers, the universe overall.
Well, the first of all, let me just talk about love. Love, love, love makes the world go round. It really does. There's nothing more beautiful than love. Love is a basket that holds it all. You know, without love, there would be no world. Everything would collapse. And when I say that, as I look around and seemingly there are a lot of things collapsing. So the antidote would be more love. And so what is it though? What is love? And so what I like to ask people, and I'm presuming uh, I'll ask this question projected to anyone who might be listening. What is love? You know, how do you love? For a lot of people, love is a behavior. You know, I did this for someone, or I'll say, well, how do you love yourself? Well, I take a vacation every year, or I go to the gym. I do a lot of positive things for myself. That's how I show love to myself. And I totally agree that is showing love, caring for yourself. But I'd like to take it a step further. I mean, love is an emotion. And what is emotion? Emotion, energy and motion. And so it's an active verb. So, how do I love someone? So, I would ask the question, what does it feel like? It's a feeling. So, what does it feel like to love someone? And so, I ask you, the audience out there, stop them and take a moment and think of someone that you love. Just close your eyes. They don't have to be there with you. Just take a moment and just think of someone that you love. And then recognize and acknowledge the feeling that you get right now that comes into you when you think of someone that you love. And when you do that, I'll ask you, did you feel something? And if you did, okay, just nod your head. I can't see you, but I can imagine that you're nodding your head. Yes, I can feel it when I love someone. So I'm so happy to say that that establishes the fact that love is something that can't be seen, but it is felt. So now that you have that, you love someone. And then I'll say, okay, whoever that is that you love, and Miss Black, you can do this exercise now too. So think of the thought of someone that you love, and I want you to close your eyes. And now I want you to stay with that feeling. And then I want you to project that love. Just feel yourself pushing that love out to the individual that you have identified that you love. Just allow that feeling, that energy to just reach out to that person and caress them, hug them, let them feel it, project it out. And if you're able to do that, That's a wonderful thing. And you know now that the power of love is not something that has boundaries around it. Love has no boundaries, it's beyond boundaries. So now you know what love feels like. And if you know what love feels like, if you were able to do that at all, just nod your head. Okay. So now I want to ask you another question. Do you love yourself? So let's check in to see. I will invite you to close your eyes. And then I want you to feel yourself loving yourself. Feel yourself loving yourself and see what that feels like. Just allow yourself to feel that love. And then now that you've allowed yourself to do that, what happens, so you can come back with me. What happens a lot, so often, and I don't have an audience right here with me in this studio, but what happens is that so often we can see a difference between what we felt when we internalized and thought about the love we had for someone else. It feels a little different for many people when they say, okay, let me see about loving myself. And what does that feel like? And it feels different. And sometimes, people may say, well, I could love more fully when I'm loving someone outside myself than I can when I'm loving myself. But why is that? It's okay. So part of what I like to help people to understand is that it is not just okay to love yourself, it's absolutely necessary. And so we have been led to believe that it's not a good thing to always project away from self, not think about feeling love for yourself. And that has really caused a lot of harm to us. Low self-esteem has caused a lot of people not to live up to their dreams. It has caused a lot of us to really doubt who we are, to to fall short of fulfilling our potential. And so love is just so powerful, it's so wonderful, and so self-love, which is also a big piece of this book, is self-love. And how can you love yourself? Really, really, really love yourself. And then the book goes on to talk about the ways that we dishonor ourselves and how we can now regain becoming best friends with number one. And it's okay. It's not only okay, it's absolutely divine. Because there's a scripture in the Bible, of which is, and I think many people who know the Bible at all are familiar with, which is love thy neighbor as thyself. And so for many, many years, people have run around trying to love that neighbor, but they neglect the other part of that verse, which is as you love yourself. And then when you realize you're not really loving yourself, well, that doesn't speak too well for your neighbor.
That's true. That's true. And I can truthfully say, even in just thinking about it and feeling it, for me, I felt definitely a sense of calm. I felt like I could fall asleep. And I don't know. I don't know if that's too much love for myself or what. But I felt like I could. I mean, I was so engulfed in myself, I could have actually dozed off. So is that a good thing or
No,
is that a
that's a
bad
wonderful
thing?
thing. That means that you felt the love that you felt was such a comforting feeling. It was safe. And that brings me to a meditation that I can introduce you to now, and to all of those who are listening out there. And we don't often sometimes we're not at a place where we can feel safe enough to just simply fall asleep in that warmth of self-love. And for those of us who have those moments when we can't get there, or it's not even about having a moment, it's just about not even being able to access that. And I want to stress this whole thing about being safe, because being loved is also about being in a place where you can be vulnerable. And so when we have these blockages where we may or may not be loving ourselves to the level that we should, it's because we have these blockages where we don't love ourselves because we have not been given permission to do it. We don't give ourselves permission to do it. And so I just very briefly take you through a little brief meditation. It's going to be a guided meditation. Okay, so I'll invite you to close your eyes, and all of you out there who are listening, invite you to close your eyes and focus your attention on your breathing. Just be aware of it. Feel the breath. Feel it as you pull the breathing. Feel yourself pull the breath into your nostrils. Feel it going down your throat. And then exhale through your mouth. Don't force it. Just exhale through your mouth. Let's do that again. Breathing in, feeling and aware that the breath is going into your nose. You feel it going down your throat. Allow yourself to be aware of exhaling, breathing out. Now we're going to add something to this. As you breathe in, I want you to put your focus on your shoulders. You can tell your shoulders to relax. Feel yourself relax your shoulders. Feel them just droop and go down. Stop holding all of that tension, all of that you've been holding. Breathing in and breathing out. And now you put your attention on your back. And with your mind, tell your back to relax. Continuing to breathe in. Exhale through the mouth without forcing it, just very softly, but telling your back to relax, and feel your back relax. Now put your attention on your stomach, on the belly. Tell your belly to relax. You don't have to hold in all of that anxiety. Just let it go. Relax. Breathing in. Exhaling through the mouth. Breathing out gently, never forcing it. Now come back up and take a look at your feeling for your neck. Let's just double check. Feel your neck and tell your neck to relax. Just there it is. It's not stiff. It doesn't have to brace itself to hold your head up. Your head might even start to wobble around, but you're going to tell your neck to relax. Wherever you put your attention, that's where your energy goes. So now your neck is relaxed, your shoulders are down, your back is relaxed, belly, and down, down, down. Tell your hips to relax. Feel yourself relaxing your hips. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax your thighs. Sometimes we hold tension and don't even realize it. So relax your thighs. Tell your thighs to relax and then feel your thighs relaxing. Even down now to your knees. Telling your knees to relax and feel yourself release the tension even that you have held and you're holding in your knees, and then down to your legs, down to the calves of your legs. Tell them to relax. Put your attention there, relaxing. And then to your feet. Feel your feet relax as you put your mind, your attention on your feet, and allow yourself, choose to just simply let go. Now you can focus on your breathing. Back up, breathing in. You're all relaxed, breathing out. Now I want you to be aware that the breath is going up through your nostrils. Feel it going down your throat. But I want you to focus on your chest. Focus on your heart. Feel yourself in your heart as you breathe in and breathe out. Just keep your awareness in your heart. And with all that awareness in the heart, you can feel that energy start to expand. Feel the energy all around you pushing out, all around you expanding. Each time you breathe in, you can feel that energy field growing. It's expanding. It's pushing out through the pores of your skin. It's surrounding you. It's surrounding you. You're now in a bubble. All in this bubble. Just so wonderful to be here with not holding any tension. Only wholesome, wonderful energy is all around you. It's love. Feel the love. Feel the love all around you. You're safe in this place. Nothing bad can happen here. It's a wonderful place. Find your safe place in this bubble. The place where nothing can harm you. You can't be judged. You can't be criticized. You can't be condemned. Just feel it. Just feeling love all around you. If you start to lose it, I want you to think of someone that you do love and fill that space with the love that you are familiar with. Sometimes it's hard to conjure up the love we might and should have for ourselves. And that's okay. As long as you feel love in this bubble, in this pink bubble. This pink bubble is all about feeling love and being safe. So now, stay here for a moment. Just hang out in this bubble for a moment, for a little bit, knowing that no matter what's happening all around you, outside you, no matter what's happening in the world with COVID or worry about rent, whatever it could be, none of that's inside this bubble. You're safe. It's safe here. You're safe and you're loved. You're safe and you're loved inside the pink bubble. It's all pink. It's caressing you. It's your safety zone. Nothing but love there. Nothing but love there. Love. Love and mercy caressing you, accepting you for who you are. No judgment. So stay there for a moment in this pink bubble and just know that you can always have this pink bubble. You can always access it. You can always access it. It's yours. It's your gift to you. So now I want you to just breathe in. And you're going to get ready to leave the bubble. But you're going to know that even though you may leave the bubble, it's there for you whenever you want it. It's there for you when you're in a tense situation. It's there for you when the pain gets too great. It's there for you when you need to go to a place to regroup. It's there for you. It's a gift to you from yourself. And now I'm going to invite you to very slowly take a breath through the nostrils, let it go, and then slowly open your eyes. And if you want to, you can just stretch. Stretch.
Is it okay to drool?
It's okay to drool, yes. Did you go to sleep on me?
I felt like I wanted to.
Yes.
But you know what? One thing I did recognize, I had pain in my lower back for the last couple days. And I kept saying, you know, maybe this is just anxiety. And I noticed that since I've been doing more work at home, more work, I've been having a little pain. So I did, yes, I did feel a huge relief in the pain in my lower back. So
Yeah,
getting
to know your body.
So Edwin, are we going to get a chance? Or do you have any questions for Miss Vernon? I know you've been in and out, but we still here. We still here, babe. Feel free to follow up. You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't.
Yeah, I think I'm. But what I'm saying is, I was paying very close attention to get the message out. But for some reason, when I'm receiving uh, the broadcast, he breaking up a lot. I don't know if where I am, the reception is not basically clear, and I cannot get the message completely out. And I'm trying to reset it to come back to see if I can hear very well. And it still give me that feedback that the message is not coming clearly to me. That's why I stopped because I don't want to ask questions that she always answer or she already talk about. That's the reason why I didn't do it. I don't even know if you guys basically hear me very well because I cannot hear you very well.
We hear you fine. Okay, so I don't know, Miss Byrne. Okay, can you hear me?
Where do you want to go from here?
Well, I appreciate everything. Oh my God, I want to go to sleep. That's where I want to go. So, wanted to just before we close our night out, Edwin, I want to explain to you. We have a couple more minutes on the broadcast with Miss Vernon. Can you hear us, Edwin? Can you hear us at all? Yes or no? Okay. So Miss Vernon, we're gonna so one last thing I wanted to talk to you about was to just tap in a little bit to advice for the teens and the young adults. As a closing message from our elder, if there were just say Vernon Coulon is making the breaking news. It's making the breaking news. What do you see yourself making the breaking news for? But also, given, what would you use that opportunity to help the youth with at that point in time of breaking the news? What would your message be to the youth on a breaking news platform? What do you see yourself?
Well, what I would say to the breaking news for the youth would be to end this with what we kind of touched on, and that is love. And it can be very challenging for you youth to you're getting so many different mixed messages about what love is and what image is, and it's getting all mixed up. But I want you to know that your generation, you are the future for the rest of us. And so you have our support, you have our desire that you become out on top, because our world depends on it. And so we want to let you know that you can talk to people. You will be heard. You're living in a unique time where youth are being listened to. So use your platform, claim it, and also don't forget to be kind to one another. You know, we talked earlier about love. Be kind and gentle to one another. That will go so far, and it will make you, whoever you are, whatever youth is out there listening, it's going to make you feel better about yourself, because you have to say, even if you may be the most popular person in the world, I would just ask, am I happy? And I tell you what can make you happy, and that's by being kind to someone else. It's something magical will happen to you if you can just reach and grab that particular thing. And if for some reason that's difficult to do, because I don't want to ever leave this program of people thinking, well, I'm not at that place where I can even say be kind. There must be something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. You are in a stage of development where you have to be kind to yourself, accept yourself for who you are, love and accept that person who is becoming. That's what I would say to you.
That's right. I agree. I agree, Miss Coulon. And also, so I guess just finishing out. We talked about your books, message, samples of self comfort. Yeah, I think we have pretty much tapped on everything. I guess the ultimate question is, of course, you are inspirational speaker. Excuse me, just for 1 second.
Sure.
So what hold on a second. 1 second. 1 second, Miss Vernon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you, as an inspirational speaker, what platforms would you prefer to see yourself on? What would you, at this time of COVID and, social distancing, and how do you see yourself sharing all your knowledge through inspirational speaking?
Thank you so much. Well, the way I see it is that this Zoom community that we have going is a blessing. I love it. I am able to reach so many people. So many people are able to reach me. I'm able to participate with so many groups. And so in the past, I have been invited to many groups who have asked me to come, especially during times of transition where people are transitioning from, say, at a birthday party or any kind of a celebration, where they really are just hungry to find some tools where they can grow. And I love doing that and inspiring people to claim who they are and to become who they need to be and to fulfill their potential. So groups of all sizes and shapes, and we can do it in a safe way. And just let me know. And you can also reach me. And I don't know if I gave my Center for Holistic Therapy's phone number as well. You can email me using the Center for Holistic Therapies.com website. You'll find my emails on there, 2 different email accounts, but also on my phone number as well.
Would you like to share? You can go ahead and share your phone number here on the platform as well.
Sure, if I could. Okay, this number is 301 588 2474. 301 588 2474. And we are all, many of us go through different periods in our lives when we are at a crossroads. We really are. I mean, we talk about the youth. Of course, they have many things in front of them that they will have to make decisions on, life decisions that will set the course of their lives for many years to come. But beside that, I mean, each decade brings another challenge, and it goes on and on and on. And even into if we are blessed enough to get into older age, it never stops. As long as we're breathing, there's growth that we still need to do. And so I love being a guide for people. I love helping them on their spiritual journey, and helping them to understand how all of it is interconnected, and they can be whole. WHOLE. They can become whole.
Thank you so much, Miss Coulon. Miss Vernon Coulon. Thank you so much for dropping those wonderful gems into the universe. We appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much. I do. And I really appreciate having you on a whole nother platform. I would love to have you here again in the future. And share some more. Drop some more of those gems. You can, okay, we're going to go ahead and close it out. I have added your number here at the end. I have not ended the broadcast as yet. It's 301-588-2747. Is that not right? You can unmute yourself.
It's 301-588-2474. I don't think that's what you said, did you? 2474.
Yes, I did. It's actually at the bottom of the screen. You can look and see if it's correct. 301-588-2474. Okay, which is your phone number. And then we also have your website, which is at the bottom of the screen. It's centerforholistictherapies.com. This is the best way to reach Ms. Vernon Coulon. She is a holistic therapist and author of book Change Your Life and a couple others, but Change Your Life definitely is where we're going to start here. If there's anything else before closing, Ms. Coulon, that you would like to say, we can go ahead and close this broadcast out, and I'll give you a chance to close it out for us.
The only thing I have to say is blessings and love to each and every one throughout this planet. And I'm sending it from my heart to you, and I embrace you all. Be safe. God bless you, and make this a better world. Be the change, that you want to see in the world.
Thank you very much, Ms. Coulon. We appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your knowledge and dropping your gems with us. We hope to have you back in the near future. And anyone that wants to reach Ms. Vernon Coulon, again, you can reach her at centerforholistictherapies.com, centerforholistictherapies.com, or you can reach her by calling 301-588-2747.
2474.
I'm sorry. 301 588 588-2474. 301-588-2474. Where'd I do that at?
Now if your skin gets ashy and it cries for relief, you better go get Kashi's Better Body Care. If your skin gets ashy and it cries for relief, you better go get Kashi's Better Body Care.
Where'd I do that at? It's official.initial.